Hello, my name is Carrie, and my friends call me Tony. And just a reminder, I prefer Tony. This is part 3 of I Married a White Guy. Now 3 racist judges are trying to annihilate me. I want to express sincere gratitude if you have followed me this far. If you watched part 1 and 2 and you are preparing to watch part 3, I'm so grateful. I thank you. I thank you so very much. And I plead that you follow me to the very end. I'm grateful. I want to briefly discuss current events in police brutality. I want to say to you guys, to America, I'm talking, this started off with me, this being for black women. This started off with me like, you know what, this is happening because I'm a black woman. And then shit hit the fan, because that's the God I serve. Everything was exposed. And so I do want to put an emphasis on black women, but this is for black people, because this is about the ongoing injustice in America that's being done to black people and have for over 400 years. And it's high time that we take corrective action. I really want to ask you, please, in this matter, that we really become critical thinkers and think critically in terms of everything associated with the Black Lives Matter movement and our fight for justice in America. What we have to do is, because this is an overwhelming emotional topic, and it evokes pain. As I sit here and I talk to you, this is painful for me. But it's important that we acknowledge the pain. Don't run from it, you guys. Don't run from it. I'm not saying bask in it, but don't run from it. Acknowledge what it is. This hurts. This is painful. We acknowledge the pain, we move forward, and we start to do what's necessary to take corrective action. It's important that we gather proper information, assess that information, and take corrective action towards correcting what they term errors of justice. They call it errors. When you guys, we know this is not error. This is racism. This is not a mistake. But the judicial or official term is called errors, and we are going to, just based on what we see with protesters, it's a hurtful topic, subject matter, but I watch videos every day, and you guys, you want to be mad at white people, but this is not all white people. This is specific white people. And as a community, as a country, we just have to say, this is not who we are and what we're about, and we're not standing up, we're not going to take it. I want to talk about some specific items, because the big thing right now is police brutality, and I don't think that they go out and say, let's hire police officers who are racist. Well, maybe they do, but that's not what this issue of police brutality demonstrates. The police brutality demonstrates the consciousness of America. Not all of America. See, it's really hard to say, because I don't like to put a blanket statement on everything. We see that Amy Cooper, what she did in Central Park, all these little snares are happening. And you know what, you guys, maybe I'm still jaded. I'm a black woman. Being black in America is experience, and I have experienced racism my entire life. But I just don't want to believe that every white person in America is like that. It's hard for me to even fathom that. So what we have to do is like I said, gather information, assess that proper information, and do what we need to correct it. In terms of police brutality, I think what they demonstrate again is the consciousness of America. I want to briefly talk about Elijah McClain. That is hard. It's hard. You guys, this is hard for us. And we got to say it's hard, but we got to push through it. Elijah McClain. We all know who that kid was. We all know that kid. That was a cool, cute little awkward kid. Cute little socially awkward kid who wouldn't bother anybody. Who would chat with you if you chat with him. You know. And the officer said his behavior was suspicious. I could sit here and debate the merits of him not being suspicious, but that would be a waste of time. We know Elijah McClain was murdered because he's a black kid. And then because he's a black person. When I say Elijah McClain was murdered because he's a black kid, my heart hurts. But that's exactly what happened. That kid was going from the store, listening to music, and the fact that the cop used the words suspicious, okay? As we start following these events and these occurrences, we're going to see the patterns and the trends on how they use these words to justify their action. You know, again, I don't even feel comfortable sitting here debating on if I don't feel comfortable debating on what happened to Elijah McClain was actual murder. We know exactly what it was. And then, so remember, we're going to remember the word suspicious. He was being suspicious. Then I saw the district attorney, Dave Young, do this whole song and dance about why he couldn't charge these officers with homicide. I think if he attempted to charge these officers with homicide, that he would get a conviction. But even if he charged him with the bare minimum of manslaughter, the fact that you guys have to, I'll look for, if I find the video, I look for the video when I post this, I'll do a link to the video of this district attorney, Dave Young, making this song and dance about why he can't charge these officers. And so those are the things that we have to track. What we have to start tracking is behavior. On the website, Judge Sarah Heidel is a Racist, I'm going to create a part for Sandra Bland called Sandy Speaks. And that's where we're going to discuss what's going on. What we need to do is to identify the people who are violating black people, the people in power who are violating black people. And you guys, this is the thing. It's going to be a big task. They go out and lynch us in the street because they don't think we have the capacity or the community to hold them accountable. Okay? So as I said, I am going to put a category on the blog, Judge Sarah Heidel is a Racist, Sandy Speaks, and we're going to come up with some way of tracking district attorneys, police officers, judges, people in authority who are violating African Americans' rights. You know, I can say African Americans, but they're doing it to black and brown people. So, I'm a black woman. I want things to be better for black women, but I rock with everybody. I want justice for everybody who deserves it, who has a right to it. So, like I said, Dave Young made this whole to-do about why he couldn't charge these officers. And as of recently, I'm taking my time to do these videos, guys, because it's really hard for me. So when you guys see these videos, when I post them in relationship to when these things happen, it may be some time. But as of recently, they're trying. The police officers were taking photos and joking about murdering this kid. I don't even know how to reconcile the thoughts that you would make a joke about murdering anybody, any human being. Yeah, so we have to make a case for changes in America. So Elijah McClain was, I want to say brutally murdered. Because that was brutal, you guys. Did you guys, I mean, when you look at these videos of George Floyd and Elijah McClain, and the thing about Elijah McClain, this is what I keep wanting to come back to while I'm sticking here, is what I want to say. This happened over a year ago. But for George Floyd, we wouldn't know about it. And to the viewers, what I want you to think is what's going on in this, the parents of Elijah McClain. You know, I'm a mom. But think about if someone, your child was going to the store. And like I said, we know that kid. We know that kid is he is not menacing. He was not a problem child. That is the cute little quirky guy that we know in class who will do us a favor, who's nice, who'll chat with us, who won't, he even, as he spoke, as they were trying to detain him for walking down the street, he tried to tell them who he was. And so, and you know, I can't, because I've got to try to do this stuff as quickly as I can. I like to talk, but I just want to discuss that. He was telling them who he was. So if we talk about police brutality, racial injustice, what type of police officer is not trained? Okay, in the case of Elijah McClain, I'm going to post that story on Sandy Speaks, under the category Sandy Speaks on Judge Sarah Heidel's a racist. And my goal is to track these occurrences and all the players involved. So their youngest, the district attorney, the police officers. I'm going to post the story and information about Elijah McClain's murder. And hopefully these videos will get enough views that if you are familiar with Dave Young and other instances where he failed to prosecute crimes against black people, or we learn about these police officers' names, and so the goal is to identify these people and collaboratively call them on the carpet for it. That's Elijah McClain. I also want to talk about this Instagram video that I have. I'm going to link the Instagram video below. In this video, it's a young white girl who's crying. It's a young white girl who's crying because her parents are trying to convince her that George Floyd deserved to die. Can you guys believe that? You guys look at the video. This young girl is crying her eyes out. And you know, my heart hurts for her because that's child abuse. And her going on Instagram, publicizing, she's imploring, like, get me away from these people. It's because these are her parents. And this is a young girl who's humane. You know, her human instincts is, hey, this is inhumane what happened to this man. Watch the video. She goes, get me away from these people. I hate them. They're so racist. And my heart hurts for her. Again, because that's child abuse. And you guys know, those are her parents. And we've all have gotten to arguments with our parents. We love our parents. And that is the one of the biggest issues. And I'm discussing this because this is like the police brutality, again, is a side effect, a symptom of what has gone on in America for way too long. Okay? This little girl crying on Instagram about her parents saying that. And I'm sorry, you guys. I'm very emotional, and I try very hard to give this information and not be so dramatic. But I feel it. How do you not feel this little girl crying about her parents who are, I mean, think about it. That's animalistic. That man murdered George Floyd. That was just murder. Like these 3 racist judges. It's just savage behavior. That's not humane. There's no mercy. And so this little girl is arguing with her parents like, are you crazy? Is something wrong with you? They murdered that guy. And so, she's still young and impressionable, and she still has, her innocent ways. But, I'm going to tell you what could possibly happen with this young girl. Okay? Because all these racist people in power don't start off that way. It's acceptable. It's what they do. She's going to get older. And because she did that, she's going to be ostracized and ridiculed by her peers. Even people who, I want to say people who may not have the same views as her parents are going to say, why'd you go on Instagram and do that to your parents? She's going to be shamed for doing the right thing, for saying, hey, my parents are telling me something really very wrong. Someone come help me. As she gets older, and if things remain the same, this is going to be what she grows accustomed to. As she gets older and she navigates society, and her attempting to buck the status quo could result in her being, shamed or ostracized. That's what they do, Let me tell you, in my divorce case, this racist lady, she would hear my divorce hearings at the end of the day. This is my stomach's hurting. And I read somewhere that normally when it's attorneys involved, they do it as fast as they can so they don't incur a lot of attorney fees. This woman would wait till the end of the day till no one was in the courtroom but me, my party, the clerk, the bailiff, and the court reporter. And let me tell you something, referring to this little white girl. This lady would hold these cases against me like it was Jim Crow. Seriously. You sit here and you look at the court reporter and the clerk, you can see in their eyes. Even, I'm going to tell you a story about the bailiff. And everybody in the room knows what's happening. Why is she doing this to me? And you could see the guilt in the court reporter's eyes and in the clerk's eyes. But what do you think is going to happen? Just like when this little girl, in the event that these people are in conflict with a person of color, they're going to unconsciously behave in the same manner of this judge. This is a judge. This is a family court judge. This is a family court judge responsible for the welfare of our children, our marriages, society. And this woman was nasty, maligned me, violated my civil rights just based on the fact that my skin is brown and my husband is white. And these people sat in the courtroom and everybody knew what was going on. You know what I mean? Everybody knew what was going on. And this is, and I'm bringing up this little girl crying because she looked like she was my 13, 14. But what do you think is going to happen as she gets older? Hopefully, I got to tell you, I got a lot of pride in the protesters. Oh my God. Summer Taylor, I think her name was. Did you guys see that? Where she was out protesting for Black Lives Matter and some man ran her over. No, you guys. We're going to make a change, okay? Yeah, we're gonna fix this. Okay, again, you guys, the goal is to expose these 3 racist judges because if they're doing this to me, God knows what they're doing. This is what they do. These are racist judges in the Los Angeles judicial system, and my primary goal initially was to expose them and call them on the carpet for what they've done. But what I've decided, you guys, I think it's a bigger picture. Everything happens in divine order. I have decided that I want to propose a update to the Civil Rights Act of 2020, George Floyd's reform, and I think we need to do a broad stroke of the Civil Rights Act of 2020, and it needs to cover several different aspects of inequality in America and the unequal treatment of Black Americans. And one of the things, I mean, you know, I always wonder about reparations. If you guys don't know about reparations, research it. And that has to do with equity, like what we lost from working and being slaves, and how the slavery and this original sin and inequality in America, how it has burdened or hindered Black people financially. You kind of research that, and they have all these reasons why they can't. They said they talk about you can't hold current people accountable for what happens before, and but that's why I want to propose this new Civil Rights Act of 2020, because we need to discuss current America, what's happening today, how it's affecting Black people. And one of the major aspects of this that's troubling to me, the most compelling, is the mental health aspect of this. I'm a Cancer, so I'm a loving, nurturing person, so I always think about the other person. This is about Black women for me. But listen, I want you ladies to think about this, or just everyone who's listening. Can you imagine how a Black man feels? Can you imagine, if you're not a Black man, can you imagine if you watched George Floyd being lynched in broad daylight and the effect that it had on you? Can you imagine how a Black man feels in this place he's supposed to call home? This is a crime that has gone on in America for too long. It's rampant in every area of America. And I want to use the issue with these 3 judges, Elijah McClain, Cindy Bland, Ahmaud Arbery. We are going to dissect what is going on in America that is fostering this injustice, and what we need to do is enact corrective action. Now, so when I say let's do a Civil Rights Act, there's laws on the books. What this racist woman did to me, as I discussed it, I'm going to get there, you guys. When I start telling you how she violated the law, how she didn't follow the law, you know, this is an uphill battle. But it begins with, we have to make these laws. And that's why I also want to highlight on the blog, Sandy Speaks. I'll go ahead and start posting stuff about specific things. And please share this video with whoever. I mean, this is my goal, you guys. You know, I never talk about this, but I'm supposed to be trying to raise money for attorney fees to sue the government. And I'm hoping enough people will come forward that I can do a class action, or everything has a divine order. I'm going to put that part in God's hands. But the Civil Rights Act of 2020, I think, is very pertinent. And to put the information on the website, Sandy Speaks, what we have to do, you guys, is we have to track these occurrences. And we have to share our story. I mean, hopefully, I'm thinking positive. I mean, we have lawyers, entrepreneurs, app developers, project managers. I'm hoping you guys will help me in this. Because what I'm thinking about is tracking of the information. So, on this, if you guys know the story about Sandy Bland, I talked about her in another video, but she was fighting for racial justice, and so I decided to put a category, Sandy Speaks, to complete the work she was doing, and I want this category to be us posting about all these injustices. I mean, on Instagram, listen, you see occurrence after occurrence. White lady points a gun at black child for no reason. We need to put down, who was that person that pulled a gun on these black people? What's her name? Where does she live? What city? Does anybody know of any other incidents that of racism? Because you have to you have to shine a light on it. And see, God is good. All these things have been happening to us for so long. And one of the reasons why they have perpetuated, because we have been able to unite and combine our resources. Praise God to social media. Right? So we're going to do this. So I'm going to wrap that part up, and I'm going to finish talking about where I left off with my story about my divorce and how these 3 racist judges are maligning me. Okay, you guys, real quickly, I want to recap. In the last video, I think I talked about the spousal support hearing, and I think I went pretty much in depth in that, but a few things I do want to cover. So to recap, I had a spousal support hearing. She didn't award me anything in spousal support. My husband, based on his income, she should have awarded me between $4,200 and $4,500. She was already nasty to me throughout the court hearing, but her body language and her attitude became even more aggressive when I said that my husband was an abusive alcoholic. And she penalized me for saying that he was an abusive alcoholic. Instead of what she should have done, when I addressed it, when I said it, she should have questioned it, or she should have asked or inquired more about it. She acted like she didn't hear me, because spousal support is influenced by abuse, okay, by domestic violence, I think it's called. I want to quickly talk to you about the law, California Family Law Code 4320. This refers to Part 2, and I'm just recapping this because I didn't discuss the law with you. I told you how she spent over 30 minutes making me demonstrate how much my husband made when she had it before her. In the transcripts, you can see where his attorney admits that she submitted the documents of his W-2s and his earnings. But really quickly, I want to go over this. California Family Code 4320 says, in ordering spousal support under this part, the court shall consider all of the following circumstances. Okay, I'm not going to read all this to you, but I'm going to touch on a couple of them. Let me go a little slower. This is the law. Okay, so again, what's happening in America, or black people are having their rights violated. They're not following the law as they would if we were white people. Okay, so California Family Code for spousal support says, in ordering spousal support under this part, the court shall consider all of the following circumstances. You guys, I'm going to post a link below to all the to this law, because there's several different items that she needs to consider, and I'll also post all the laws on the website. But I want to discuss a few things. When you look at the transcripts, she didn't discuss any of this. She didn't consider any of this. It says, A, the extent to which the earning capacity of each party is sufficient to maintain a standard of living established during the marriage, taking into account all the following. It says, okay, so which means I should live at the same standard of living as I did during the marriage. That's not happening, okay? 1, the marketable skills of the supported party, the job market for those skills, the time and expense required for the spousal supported party to acquire the appropriate education or training to develop those skills, and the possible need for retraining or education to acquire other more marketable skills of employment. That's 1. It says, it's specific things I want to talk about here. The ability of the supporting party to pay spousal support, take into account the supporting party's earning capacity, earned and unearned income, assets, and standard of living. This is C. The ability of the supporting party, that's my husband. My husband's been supporting me since 2007, I think, to pay spousal support, taking into account the supporting party's earning capacity and earned and unearned income, assets, and standard of living. Okay, so that means based on what he earned, California has a standard of how much he has to pay. Listen, if you research it and you see it, I didn't get what I was supposed to get, okay? And I'm telling you this because to demonstrate that my husband's earning capacity, he paid my daughter's tuition during this time, okay? My daughter's tuition was $40,000 a semester. My daughter has no debt. $40,000 a semester was the minimum. That wasn't incidentals and other items. My husband did not have a legal obligation to pay my daughter's spouse education. He had a legal obligation for spousal support in the state of California. There's something else I wanted to say to you here. The extent to which, this is 2, read through the transcript. Okay, to the extent to which the supporting party presents or future earning capacity is impaired by periods of unemployment that were incurred during the marriage to permit the supporting party to devote time to domestic duties. I hadn't had a job since 2007, I think. You know what? I started being a housewife. I started doing something with my daughter. My daughter was an actress. I was a housewife. I took her to auditions. If you are a housewife and you're home, you know you work. You know, by 3 o'clock a day is gone. You start early and you know. So I cooked. I took care of my daughter. I picked up my kids. I was a housewife until I started trying to build my business. So based on what the law says, she didn't consider these facts. And that's one of the primary things I want to talk about. And then also, one of the things here is emotional distress resulting from domestic violence perpetrated against the supporting party by the supporting party. My husband was emotionally abusive. Okay, he was an abusive alcoholic. I submitted letters, cards, where he apologized. Letters dating back to that when you are a emotional abuser, when you abuse your partner, your domestic partner emotionally, there is a history of it from back since 1993 up until the present day. Maybe like 6 years ago was the last time he may have given me a card or wrote me a letter apologizing for his behavior. And I'm saying this only because the law says this. When I mentioned he was an abusive alcoholic, this is when that's when she flipped on me. And when you read the transcript, you're going to see that the transcript doesn't make any sense. They're not accurate. But I just want to demonstrate that this racist Judge Sarah Heidel did not follow the law in terms of ordering spousal support. And so now I just wanted to touch on that because I primarily want to talk about the law. And now I'm going to discuss, and you guys, I'm begging you to stay with me, because I know sometimes it might sound a bit convoluted. I have a hard time thinking about this. It's painful to me. And that's why this is important. I really want to tie this in to this Civil Rights Act of 2020, George Floyd reform. I think that there needs to be laws and compensation for the mental health of black people. And I'm dead serious. So, okay, I'm going to talk about the current hearing. It's March 14th. We have a vocational evaluation request and my request for attorney fees. Okay? Okay, so right away she starts harassing me. Okay, go to the transcripts, March 14th transcripts, page 2. And okay, so I'm telling her, I'm trying to let her know that I'm really delayed. And you guys, I don't know if you can tell, I'm better than what I was. I still really have a problem with post-concussion syndrome, and because I think it's not healing because of the anxiety and the stress and the lack of sleep. This was right when in the beginning. At this time, when this was happening, my head always felt like it was underwater and my ears were ringing. So I had a problem processing thoughts, and when you would talk to me, but I was just delayed and I was distracted by my head felt like it was underwater. So sometimes it was hard for me to have a conversation, and I might have to ask you to say things more than once. And I was just trying to let her know. I do speak fast, but I was trying to let her know, please be patient with me. You might say something and I might have to say, what you say, can you say that again? And you'll see, she says she will be patient with me, but she never is. She's nasty to me the whole time. Okay, and I'm going to give you an example. When there's a white man, and she's more than patient with him. Okay, okay. So page 2, line 11, me the respondent. So I'm just delayed and I'm forgetful, and sometimes I have to grasp for words. So when you say, do I want accommodations, in what way? Because she offers me accommodations, okay? How can you accommodate me other than patience? The court says, line 15. Well, I will do my best to be patient. The whole block of space is missing again. There is no documentation that you have a concussion. You've been saying this for several months. And then dots again. This is very important, okay, guys, because this is the theme, okay? And this is not trivial. You're going to see continuously she challenges me on if I have issues, okay? While this is happening, you guys, I know now she's trying to confuse me. I don't know what she's trying to do. She doesn't make any sense herself. But during the time, I'm in the midst of it. And I'm just trying to swim, so I don't understand. But as I read the transcript, she does this to me continuously. Okay? So line 19, page 2 of the transcripts, the respondent. I submitted you to you, ma'am. I submitted to you. And you know, there's words missing. I don't know, because one of the times in here it says, I try my best. I don't speak like that. You guys, I do talk fast, but I'm college educated, okay? And there's some words in here, in some sentences, that is not my usual vernacular, let's just say, okay? So, line 19, I submitted to you, ma'am. I submitted my documents. Space missing again. The court. I'm going to actually cut you off because now we're getting far afield. There's not why we're here. This is what it says. This is not why we're here today. I understand your position. You have a concussion, but let's get back to the matter on calendar. So, okay, so you guys, I want to say this to you because this is what she does. Because what I want you to see, I don't know if you guys have like watched like movies about Jim Crow and how they maligned black people back in like the 30s, the 40s, and 20s, and how they would just do despicable things and talk to black people crazy, and it was acceptable. This is what she's doing. Okay, so she begins by saying, I'm saying to her, and you know, if you read and you can read into even the tone, this woman doesn't know me from Adam. Her job is to be a judge and hear a divorce case. This is California. People get divorced every day. This shouldn't have been nowhere as near as personal as this woman's making it. How she's talking to me, the way she's behaving, it's clear that she's treating me unfair. So again, I want to say this to you because I want you guys to follow along as to what she does. Line 19. I tell her I submitted it to you. She says to me again, I'm going to actually cut you off because we're now getting far afield. This is not why we're here. I understand your position. You have a concussion, but let me get back to the matter on the calendar. So what happens is she says, you keep saying you have concussion, but you have medical issues. So this is what I want to explain to you, like the district attorney, what's his name, David Young, in the Elijah McClain case. I just want you guys to see how these racist white people malign us, how they frame things. Okay, this is how they're framing it. So she's saying to me, you keep saying you have a concussion, but you don't have documentation. I tell her I have documentation. And I keep saying this to you, because this is not the first time, this is not the last time she does this. She does this repeatedly. Okay? So, line 26, page 2, the respondent. But you want to know what the documents, spaces are missing again, documentation. I submitted with the court what my response is. So for future reference, do you want to know which exhibit it is? And see, what's happening is, and you know, I'm going to tell y'all, because y'all know I'm a little slow. I am slow, you guys. I'm so sorry. My brain's so bad. I got to stop saying I need to claim something better. But what it is, she thinks I'm a dumb black girl. I'm an old, beat up, emotionally distressed black woman, but I'm not a dumb black woman. And this is where she made a mistake. Okay, so she says, because she tries to double talk me. See, this is what the devil does. See, this is the devil. This is what the devil does. The devil does nasty and disgraceful things like this. She's saying to me, okay, we're having a hearing. I'm saying, hey, listen, I got a concussion. Can you be patient with me? All she had to do was be patient with me and listen to the hearing. She says, you keep saying that you have a condition, but you're not submitting records, just like the my husband's income. If you pull and you guys, I'm just talking to you guys, you're getting the basics. If you could pull the court records in my pleading, in my declaration, how I'm long-winded, I dot my I's and I cross my T's. And because I'm so forgetful, I will review it. It might be redundant because I want to make sure specific things are in here. Okay, so I say to her, page 3, the court, she says yes. She says yes, she wants to. The respondent. So the medical concussion in a response to the attorney is Exhibit G. The second space is missing. It says the reporter. I didn't understand. She's saying she didn't understand me. It says spousal support reconfiguration. I submitted that. So I'm telling her where the medical records are. That's not that hearing that we're here for today. Okay, so what she's saying is, I never submitted my medical records, but I did. I submitted them during the spousal support hearing. Okay? If you would have read the documentation, you would know that. If you had read the documentation that I submitted in the declaration, you wouldn't say you haven't submitted your medical records. And you guys, I submitted my medical records several times, okay? The court, that's not something the transcripts are just very convoluted. So if I sound crazy, it's because spaces are missing. It says that's not ... That hearing is not before the court today. Me, the respondent. I'm letting you know I have documentation for that. So concussion is G. I also have a severe back injury, which is even a little bit more severe than my concussion. And just to let you know, I think the last time I sat down, you kind of got annoyed with me. I was not aware of the procedure. I did that because I have a severe back injury, suffering from a back injury for almost 10 years now. This is what the court says. She says, Miss, I did not get annoyed with you because you sat down. I said, I'm letting you know, ... spaces is missing again. I just need to correct the record. I cannot let you say things that are false. This is me. That's what it felt like. The court. Well, I'm letting you know that's not what happened. I say, yes, ma'am. So why don't we swear in the parties? Okay, so this is important, you guys. Because I'm telling you, and this again, I really want you guys to follow along and be patient with me, because this is what they do. This is how they malign us, okay? Because we all have the mental capacity or the patience to go through every incident that occurred, okay? Every little thing. They don't think that we're going to follow up and be on top of things, okay? I said to her, I have a concussion, I'm slow. And you know what? I don't know what she's thinking. So this is a racist white lady who used to work in fraud. She was a district attorney for fraud. Okay? So what I'm thinking, and I know I'm going to get into this, but she knows my husband. Okay? My husband knows this woman, clearly. Okay? But what I'm thinking, she's just a racist. And she probably had heard fraud cases with black people, and you know how they think of us. So my husband is, I told you what he looks like, and I'm a black woman, okay? She's thinking I'm coming in here lying and being deceitful, and this is what's so hurtful. I'm not the deceitful one. You never, when we go through everyone, all the stuff they did to me, you're never going to catch me in a lie, because I never lied. I never lie about not one thing. I don't have to lie. This is my husband of 20 years. My husband's an executive. He makes over $170,000 a year. He has for the past at least 7 to 8 years. I've been married for 23 years. The court says I'm supposed to get specific things. That's all she had to do was be fair to me. But this is, watch and see what she does to me. All she has to do is be fair. I don't have to lie. I don't have to be deceitful. I don't have to hide information. I have no reason to lie. I haven't worked in over 10 years. He's my husband. All I want is spousal support and half of what belongs to me. That's it. I'm not lying. I'm so sorry, you guys. I'm getting a little angry, but so that's where we are with I just want you guys to understand the tone, because the thing about me saying okay, so, and okay, black people, maybe you do this too. I don't want to think that this lady's racist, okay? In my mind, she was nasty to me before. She maligned me. She wasn't fair to me in terms of the spousal support hearing on February the 7th. I do have back problems, so I sat down. When I sat down, I noticed she was nasty to me the whole time. I'm trying to read her behavior. When I sat down, she was looking at me disgusted to me throughout the whole court hearing, okay? I'm thinking, maybe I wasn't supposed to sit down. Again, you're going to see she reprimands me consistently about my behavior. And I'm thinking, maybe I just don't know court protocol. My husband works in the field. That's how he works with the family court system. He knows his judge, okay? I'm 100% confident he knows his judge, okay? He knows how he's been in court before for family court issues. So he knows how to conduct himself. I don't know. So honestly, when I went home, you guys, I told y'all, she didn't order me any money. I had no income. I even got a flat. If I told y'all, I got a flat, and my husband cut me off my AAA. When I'm going home after this spousal support hearing, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, what did I do wrong? And I thought, I said to her, I'm letting her know this is me trying to, be nice to this woman and get on a better footing with her. I sat down because I have a back problem. And I said to her, you were nasty to me. She says, no, she wants to correct the record because it's in the transcripts. She's saying that's not true. No, she was mean to me, and I couldn't understand why she was mean to me. So I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I just want to. The main reason why I'm going over these little things, you guys, is because this is what they do to us, and maybe I'm going too deep in it, and it's my emotion that's coming out, but I think you understand and you get it, because this doesn't just happen to me. This happens to black people. Okay? Okay, she ruled against me in the vocational evaluation even though I didn't have an attorney. And that's going to take on a whole life of its own, but we'll discuss that in the future. I want to talk about a few things on this transcripts. Okay, March 14 transcripts. Again, they're on the website, page 7, line 7. I say, am I able to respond now? The court says, you've always been able to respond. The respondent, I want to make sure I'm not speaking out of turn, ma'am. Before I move forward, it's very important to me I say these statements to you. The court, is it responsive to the request? Blank, blank, blank. The transcripts, again, are not legible. The respondent, it's regarding response to the request. This is what she says. Miss, let me finish my sentence and let me finish. She goes, Miss, let me finish my sentence and I'll let you finish yours. I was asking, is it responsive to the request for a vocational expert? The respondent, ma'am, is response to my rights and my blank, 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 the case, blank, 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 the court in general. And so I'm going to read this to you. But this is the beginning, and this goes on. They do not let me speak. They do not let me, I have to kind of like navigate to say things to make sure that they're on the record, because honestly, you guys, by this time I know this lady's maligning me and I'm protecting myself. Okay? So, page 7 of the transcript, line 20. I'm a black woman. My husband is a white male. I have very strong concerns I'm not going to be treated fairly in this court based on a jurisdiction. I live in this city. My husband works in this city. I think he strategically picked this jurisdiction. As I've noticed, each time I come in here, I never see any other African American litigants. I've only seen African American employees. I have some concerns. I'm not going to be treated fairly in this case, and possibly it needs to move to a different jurisdiction. Okay, the court. Well, if you feel that way, you can file something to move the case. But I have to say that you pointed to anything. But I have to say that you've not pointed to anything that would suggest that in fact what's happening here. The respondent. Well, I don't want to go down that route. If I need to, I could. I want to respond to your request regarding the vocational, ma'am. When I'm recognized as Mrs. Attorney is not trying to resolve issues. Her motive is to billable hours. I was a housewife for over 15 years. My marketability and employment and lack thereof has little to do with my skills and my ability. I tried very hard and I submitted multiple emails where I attempted blank, blank, blank. I begged for jobs. And when I said this to her, I remember how she looked at me in disgust when I said this to her. She was giving, you may not remember every occurrence, but you will know how remember how somebody makes you feel. When I said this to her, I said this with compassion, because I meant it. Okay, I'm going to read this to you. I said, I tried very hard and I submitted multiple emails where I attempted, it's blocked out, I begged for jobs. And I did not get them because I hadn't worked in 10 years. So at this time, again, it's not something I don't think I would like to do in the future because I'm not represented. I think it's best that we readdress that when I have proper counsel to court. Okay, all right. Well, I'm going to find there is good cause for the vocational evaluation, and I understand that there is a proposed order, and I am inclined to grant the order as proposed. But I do have a question about whether or not you submitted the qualifications of Mr. Lane. Have you done that, or do you have them? Okay, so I'm going to give you more specifics about this as we move forward. Okay, so right now, I'm telling her, ma'am, I don't think I'm being treated fairly. Okay? I'm telling her. You guys, I'm not just saying this because I'm playing the black card. I'm saying this because this is how she's treating me. And I'm trying to let her know, this doesn't feel really good. We're in the city of Pomona. Why he filed here, I don't know. I don't live nowhere near Pomona. This is like a further east, okay? If he wanted to do it because of proximity of anything, my husband's always at work. And specifically, where the judge lives is the city my husband works in, okay? Where the judge lives is the city where my husband works at, okay? My husband spends most of his time, my husband is a workaholic. I cannot stress that enough. And I don't know, and I really want to clarify that to you because I don't know some people are not workaholics. Some people work leisure, work hard, average employees. If you know a workaholics thrive on working, okay? He loved his work. It made him feel worthy. My husband is very work-centered, and I'm not trying to make that a bad thing. That's one of the things that I loved about my husband. He worked really very hard. Sometimes he didn't make time for us. It was an issue to some degree, but I'm pointing out the fact that he's a workaholic because it would make more sense for him to file near his job, okay? It didn't make sense for him to file more additional hour from his job. My husband's at work all the time. If he has to go to, when we go to court, he goes to work after court. My husband will go to work. If he's gone all day, he'll go in at 3 o'clock to get his work done. He's an executive, so he doesn't punch a clock. That's how he was able to cheat on me. He could do whatever he wanted to do. He did his work. He had requirements and deadlines and things, so he was always at work. And so, I'm trying to say to you that he filed in this court. It's just no purpose, no reason why he filed in the court, other than he knew this lady. Because he worked in the family system, the family court system, he knows that this court has a reputation for being racist to black people. I live in California. It's a large Latino population. This court is mostly white and Latin people, okay? Every time I went to court, I didn't see one black litigant. There was a few like black people at the security. You didn't see no black judges. That's laughable. All the judges were white. I'm trying to think, was there even any Latin judges? I don't remember even seeing any Latin judges. They were mostly white judges. Okay? So I'm pointing out to her that I say to her, I don't think I'm being treated fairly. So she rules against me. Even though I say I want an attorney. And I'm going to get to this later. Okay, so I want to read this part to you because there's a part in here where she says, okay, all right, well, I'm going to find there is good cause for the vocational examination, and I understand that there is a proposed order. and I am inclined to grant the order as proposed. But I do have a question about whether or not you submit the qualifications or of Mr. Lane. Have you done that? Okay, this is important. Do you have them? Okay, so you guys, honestly, remember I'm struggling. I don't really get, I'm engaging, but I'm missing stuff. I notice stuff later when I come home, when I got the transcripts, when I read the law. Okay, so I didn't fully understand that she ruled in her favor. I heard her say yes, pending something. She said to her, I'm inclined to rule in your favor pending this. Okay, and you guys, I'm delayed in saying this because I don't know what I should tell you or not tell you, because this spirals out of control. They malign me in this. Okay, so real quickly I'm gonna tell you, there was never a actual order for this. They've played with the paperwork and they do some shiesty stuff, because when there's an order, it's supposed to be it's called minutes and something after the order. Attorneys help me. It's called hearing and findings after the order. What ends up happening is, if they rule in her favor, each time they ruled in my husband's favor, his attorneys required, this is a court procedure, that she has to send the order to me to be approved. That never happened. Okay? And I wasn't 100% sure why I never got it. I remember I'm delayed and I don't understand everything. I don't want to keep asking this lady to repeat yourself and say what or interrupt her, because she's being nasty to me. Okay? She ruled in his favor, and I knew she did. I wasn't 100% sure what exactly she did. I remember her saying, you have to give me this first. She said, I don't see something on here, right? And so for me, I'm waiting for the findings and the hearings, called hearings and findings. I'll write it in here and tell you what it's called. It's a specific procedure in the family court system that she has to do. She never sent that. So I waited for that. Okay? Because remember, I want you guys to understand, I'm not being difficult. I just want to make sure I'm represented. And real briefly, I don't know if I told you this before, but the reason why I want to make sure of that, I hurt my back. I sustained a severe back injury, and it was a workers' comp case. And you guys, I have been in an abusive relationship with my husband for a very long time, and I was in pain, and I was in the midst of my depression about my relationship with my husband, because my husband was nasty to me the whole time I had this back injury. Okay? And what happened was, my company ordered an evaluation very similar to this. This is why my words were the way they were. And I went to the evaluation. I didn't have an attorney. I didn't know you're supposed to get an attorney, and you come to a agreement on who the evaluator was. And because I didn't do that for my back case, the evaluator was chosen by my company. So the evaluation went in favor of my company. And so for me, I wasn't worried about having the evaluation. I wanted to make sure I was represented. You're going to see throughout this court case, I'm not being difficult. All I want is what's fair. Like, guys, Sandy Bland, she moved over to get out of the man's way. He was harassing her. He did that on purpose. Okay, this is what's happening to us. This little boy, Elijah McClain, was walking home, and someone said he's being suspicious. And I gotta be honest, I don't like saying this out loud. I don't like saying that these white people are maligning us. But that's what's happening. I'm gonna mention something really quickly, and then I'm gonna take a break. It's a fashion girl. She's the editor. Her name is Elaine. I can't remember her name. She's the editor for I think Vogue. Junior Vogue Junior. It's like, I don't know, it's called Vogue Junior. I forgot that it's a Vogue for the kids. And I'm a fashion girl, so I follow fashion very much. Anyway, on her recent Instagram, she wrote something, you could see it on my Instagram, that this country wasn't built for us. And let me tell you something. I don't like that statement. Because what I said earlier in this video is the laws were written for this. And you may have thought, well, those laws weren't written for us. You know what? I'm an American. And I deserve to be treated just like every other American. So for me, when you say the laws, when they were writing these laws, they were not thinking about you and I, yo, how I'm going to take it, when they were writing the laws, they were talking about Americans. I'm an American. And you know what, you guys, I don't want to get too deep in that because some of y'all might be angry and mad. You don't give up your American status. You don't, I mean, we see what's happening. We know what they're doing to us, okay? But I got to get out the emotion, like I told y'all, and deal with the issue at hand intelligently and strategically. We deserve to be treated fairly, and there is a judicial system. It doesn't always work accurately, but that's our goal. I'm sitting here doing these videos, sharing my personal pain, because we're going to make a change. You know, this is really hard for me. And when I get up, I put off days to finish doing these videos. I always, I'm going to do them, then I don't, because it hurts my heart. And I sit here and I watch Elijah McClain's mother stand on TV. You know, I don't know if y'all think I'm soft or whatever, but there's no way you kill my baby and I could stand here and she cool. She not cool, but she's standing up for her kid. They killed her child, you know, and I keep relating this to my case because this is what's happening in America. And what I want y'all to understand, I mean, I'm telling you this as we go on. I really want you guys to know me and get to know me. I don't feel inferior to white people. I never have, and I never will. I'm just not that person. My mother raised me to love me. I've seen even, you know, I'm going to tell you guys a quick story. Me and my daughter belonged to a charity league. It was a mother and daughter charity league. I'm not going to say who they are. And one of my girlfriends is Latin. She's actually a police officer. She's a sergeant. And I invited her to one of our fundraisers. And this goes on. I'm in California, you guys. And they treat Mexicans bad too. They treat Mexicans real bad too. They treat white people, they treat them even worse at times because they assume that they're not legal. So they do all kind of dirty stuff to Mexican people. Okay? I'm gonna let y'all know that. Okay? So we were at a fundraiser, and it was an auction. And it's a mother and daughter charity league. And I wanted her to, you guys, I was a housewife, so I did that kind of stuff, okay? And so I wanted my friend to join the group. So we were I live near Orange County. I don't know if y'all know much about Orange County, but this particular fundraiser was in Orange County. And we were at one of the tables. It was an auction, really nice event. And we're at the table, me, my Mexican friend, who's a police officer. She's a sergeant. I'm saying that because this is a professional woman, okay? And we were sitting around talking. One of the other moms, old bitter white lady, I was trying to recruit her. The old bitter white lady was being mean to my friend, making her feel small. It upset me tremendously. I don't want to say her name, but I was like, no, my heart hurt when I saw that. I mean, and I'm making this point because we're different types of personalities, and I'm not the personality that you can't make me feel small. Okay? I'm a New Yorker. You can't, and I'm saying this because I've seen this with black people. I've seen this with Latino people, where they're like trying to prove their worth. And all these things are going through my head, you guys, because I'm on Instagram and Twitter. While I'm doing this video, I'm still quarantining, so I'm home, board in house board. So I watch social media. And right now, civil rights and racial equality is on the forefront. And I read these messages like, I'm good enough. That's what the Elaine said. I'm good. I'm like, what are you keep trying to prove you're good enough? Listen, this is not about me proving I'm good enough. This is not about this. I'm good enough. Okay? This is about the laws or the people in power are not treating us equitably, and we are going to make a change. What they said, no justice, no peace. Okay? And that's what this is about for me. Yeah. My long video. Y'all better stay with me. I'm going to continue. I'm going to take a break right now. But so she ruled against me in the vocational evaluation. We're going to address that. Okay, you guys, I'm back. And where I left off was, okay, so we're still talking about March 14th hearing. The first hearing was the vocational evaluation. The second hearing is for me requesting attorney fees. And I gave you details behind what happened before, what happened during the hearing for the vocational evaluation. And so I want to be clear on a few points, okay? This lady's nasty to me. She cuts me off. She talks to me crazy. And like I said, when they discriminate against us, often it's based on, I want to say subjective experience, like a subjective, looking at things subjectively. I'm saying that properly. I think it's subjective, not objective, subjectively. So, like in the case of Elijah McClain, they said he was being suspicious. What exactly is suspicious? Okay? And again, this is why they do this to us, because we don't call them on the carpet and question the behavior. You can't just say he was being suspicious. He was being suspicious, so you are going to tackle him to the ground and give him a injection? No. Right? So with this woman, I keep focusing on how she holds the hearing. Okay? And these racist people, they're trained. This is what they do. Okay? Racist people do specific things to cover up their racism. And it's like a liar. Like a liar, he lies on key. Like his attorney is a liar. She would just lie at the drop of a dime. And I'm like, and she a sloppy liar, y'all. I told you she a sloppy liar. She'll just lie. Okay? And I don't know, was her lying sloppy? Because you can go ahead and once she says something, if you research it, I can show and demonstrate that she's lying. Or was she lying and she's comfortable lying because she knew that this judge had some type of relationship with my husband, or knew that this judge was going to rule in my husband's favor because I'm a black woman. Okay, so like I said, in civil cases, you look at the evidence and you do, and it's based on weighted evidence. Is it more probable that this is the cause? So when it's continuously, and I'm saying this to you because you guys, this is how I try to demonstrate what's happening, is that every single hearing, she does not rule within the guidelines of the law. Okay? And that's the problem. So really quickly, what I want to do is talk to you guys about the vocational evaluation and what the law says about the vocational evaluation. So last time I told y'all, again, y'all, I was suffering from a concussion, and sometimes I don't understand what's happening. And you'll notice if you read the transcripts, when I attempt to speak, she talks down to me, she cuts me off, or she's just condescending. So my natural unconscious reaction is fear. So like I said, I wasn't clear 100% on what she said. And each time I try to talk to this judge, it seems to be confrontational. So human instincts is going to try to minimize confrontation. Okay, so she ruled in her favor, but I knew she said something that she needed to submit something. I was waiting for her to get this, and I'm going to talk to you guys again about that thing. I didn't research the name of it. The name of it, I think it's called Hearings and Findings After the Order, something like that. I'll tell you guys about that later on, because that comes into play later on. Okay, so they were requesting a vocational evaluation, meaning that I'm evaluated on my, I guess, employment ability to be employed. Okay, and I talked to you guys about that briefly. So there are two issues here: the vocational evaluation and the attorney fees, and what the law says for it about it. Okay, so first, the law, Family Code 4331. Again, I'm going to link all the law codes below, and I'm going to also post the actual law on the website. Judge Sarah Heidel is a racist. Okay, so the Family Law 4331 says this. I'm going to read it to you guys. In a proceedings for dissolution of marriage or for legal separation of the parties, the court may order a party to submit to an examination by a vocational training counselor. The examination shall include an assessment of the party's ability to obtain employment based upon the party's age, health, education, marketability skills, employment history, and the current availability of employment opportunity. The focus of the examination shall be on an assessment of the party's ability to obtain employment that will allow the party to maintain herself or himself at a marital standard of living. That's A. B. The order may be made only by motion for good cause and on a notice to the parties to be examined and to all parties. Again, let me read that to again because I'm going to understand it myself. The order may be made only on motion for good cause and on notice to the parties to be examined and to all parties. The order shall specify the time, place, manner, condition, scope of the examination, and the person or persons by whom it is to be made. Okay, so this is the issue, because this particular hearing becomes a problem later on in my divorce case. Because like I said, what happens each time, I go to these hearings, and you guys, I'm just assuming this lady's going to be fair to me. So often I operate on the premise that she's going to do what's in the confines of the law. I've discussed to you what I've read to her multiple times. Well, I read to you guys from the transcripts where I'm saying to her, you know what, ma'am, I think you're being a little racist and you are holding this court case unfairly because I'm black. I say this to her because this is what's actually happening. This is white people, and see, I want to say white people, you don't get it, and some white people won't get it because some white people don't think like that. Some white people will get it because you work in America and you know how discrimination looks like, and you know when someone's being discriminated against, and if you or in proximity you've witnessed it. You may not have been a party to it, but you've witnessed it. Okay, so what's important here is it says the order may be made only on motion for good cause. First, if you read through the transcripts, she never made a case for a good cause. Good cause, what is the good cause that I need this evaluation? That's one. Two, on notice to the party to be examined and to all parties. The order shall specify time, the place, manner, condition, scope of the examination, and the person or person by whom it is to be made. Okay, so, and this is what happened. She did a proposal All right? She proposed something. It did not, when the judge did the order, the proposal or the order, see, it gets a little convoluted because she did a propose. And when I question it later on at a different hearing, she goes and gets the proposal, crosses out proposal, and says it's the order. This is what his conniving lawyer does. Okay? So, in the order should have had the time, place, manner, condition, and scope of the examination. The order did not say that. Remember, I never actually got an official order. Okay? The judge spoke to her in court. You read in the transcripts where the judge says, you're missing something. Tell me about the provider. Give me the information on the examination. I'm going to read that to you more. It's more information about that, okay? So, in the order lacked the scope of the examination. Even in the transcripts, the judge asked her of the scope of the examination. And this is why I wanted an attorney. Scope of the examination means if I'm going to be evaluated, I need to be told and made aware of the scope, what is actually happening, in what kind of environment, how am I being, how are you going to measure or evaluate me. That information should have been divulged, or I would call it discovery. It says scope of examination. Scope of the examination means what are you doing and how are you doing it in what environment. That's what scope means. Okay, so then it says D. Vocational training counselor for the purpose of this section means an individual with sufficient knowledge, skills, experience, training, or education in interviewing, administrating or interpreting tests for analysis of marketable skills, formulating career goals, planning courses of training and studying assessment of the jobs to qualify as an expert in vocational training under Section 720. Section 720 of the Evidence Code. So what this means is she must submit to the court evidence that the person that is going to do the evaluation is qualified. Okay? And that's what I think she asked her to submit. I never received that. Okay, so this says, again, I'm going to read it to you really slowly. I know this is a lot, but this is how we have to fix this. The problem, we have to pay close attention to every little item and correct it. Okay? So we have to be patient. Again, D. Vocational training counselor for the purpose of this section means an individual with sufficient knowledge, skills, experience, training, or education in interviewing, administrating, and interpreting tests for analysis for marketable skills, formulating career goals, planning course of action, course of training and study, assessment the job market to qualify an expert in vocational training under Section 720. Okay, so I'm going to go and I'm going to read to you guys. So, okay, so it's saying that they have to comply with having a specific type of evaluator who fits certain criteria. And the Evidence Rule 720 says a person is qualified to testify as an expert if he has knowledge, skills, experience, training, or education sufficient to qualify him as an expert on the subject to which his testimony relates. Against the objection of a party, such special knowledge, skills, experience, training, or education must be shown before the witness may testify as an expert. They never showed relevant evidence to demonstrate that this person was able to give the evaluation. Okay? She never gave pertinent information. It's B says, a witness special knowledge, skills, experience, training, or education may be shown by any otherwise admissible evidence, including his or her own testimony. They never presented to me who the evaluator was, the criteria. I never got the ability to cross-examine their so-called witness and question their credibility or anything based on when you submit evidence. This is what I'm telling you guys. If you don't know the law, you guys watch Judge Mathis. Judge Mathis covers every aspect of civil court. If you're going to say something and you're going to present evidence, as the respondent, when the petitioner gives information and says, this is my evidence, I have the right to question and cross-examine the evidence. I never got that because she never submitted to me who this person was. If you go back and read the transcripts, I say to them, I don't know who this person is. I don't know her affiliation with this person. I don't know their background. I say this in court. Okay, you guys? So, you guys, I get really excited. I'm so sorry, y'all, because it's like, I still am flabbergasted that this happened to me. And black people, if y'all like Tony, this is life in America. My heart hurt. I know this is life in America. But working and operating under the premise that people are against you and going to violate you and you're less than, that's not good for your mental health or your mental mental health. And mental health is very important to me. My husband works in mental health. As I explained to you guys, I helped him study for his licensing. So I learned about mental health. I read the book. When I developed my business, I tried my best to build a business, and my business was based on women and mental health. So I am not an expert. I don't have licensing, or I didn't go to school for it, but I study it, mental health and how it relates to people. And for me, this is one of the overwhelming issues with black people in America. We are discriminated against, and the primary reason they do this is for economic empowerment, so they also always maintain economic power over us. And economics is very important. You need to be able to eat, live, and economics is important. Financial is important, but your health and well-being trumps that. And I want to stop saying this to you guys, because sometimes I feel like I just don't feel comfortable saying it. I don't like admitting my weaknesses to you guys. But I have to stop because I get anxious. And many people today suffer from anxiety because, and maybe I'll get into later on with other videos, I was in an abusive relationship with this man for 20 years. I suffered mental anguish being in this relationship. Because I'm a critical thinker, I read information and got tools to deal with the depression and anxiety I experienced from being married to this guy. And so I understand about anxiety. He would do, and I don't know if I told you, but early on in our first, like 4 or 5 years of our marriage, I would get anxiety attacks, and I didn't know what was happening. My husband is a mental health professional. He knew I was having anxiety attacks. I didn't know what was happening to me. I thought I was tripping. I was like, I'm having a heart attack. I was having anxiety. Okay? So when I sit here and I have these conversations with y'all and I'm feeling anxious, I struggle with it because my conscious mind knows, Tony, relax. Breathe deeply. But my unconscious mind feels fear. My unconscious mind, which I am having a problem bypassing, I don't know if it's even possible to bypass your unconscious mind. My unconscious mind is, I'm afraid. I have been maligned by these judges. I'm going through a divorce. And to compound that, we're going through COVID. I've been isolating. Everything all I can do is go and look at TV, watch videos, go look at social media. It's an overwhelming information about discrimination. I see videos one after the other, or content, or I read something about what's happening to black people. So it's affecting my psyche, and I sincerely apologize for being so dramatic, but it's a serious state of affairs. So, okay, you guys, I'm going to go over the transcripts real quickly, okay? I'm going to go over the whole transcripts. I'm going to go on specific parts of it. The transcripts are posted on the website. And let me say this. There's some people are read the transcripts. I'm the person who will go back and read everything and come up with my own opinion of things. Many of you will just know I'm telling the truth because you experienced this and you feel it. Okay? But I want all of you guys to read the transcripts. And the reason why I want you to read the transcripts because I want you to learn what they do and how they do it. Okay? She did this to me because I was delayed, and I hesitate in saying this because I don't normally speak this way about black people or myself. I won't say negative statements about black people or our experience. I was just trained not to do that. And a lot of it has to do with me being in this abusive relationship. I taught myself to change how I think and what I feel. They don't think we're bright. They don't think we're very smart. Just like back in Jim Crow, you look at how they perceive black people, not all white people, but a lot of them. They think that we're, like if you watch minstrel shows, or you guys are too young to know that, if you're like under 30, you don't know what I'm talking about, you Google it. Blackface in minstrel shows, they perceive us as being childlike, not very smart. Like a child, you have to teach a child something, and a child's not really very smart. That's how they think about us, okay? And because of that, they do these things to us. Like, again, George Floyd. How was this man comfortable putting his knee in this man's neck when everyone around him is telling him to stop? Because he's thinking, they ain't going to do nothing. These are stupid black people. Amy Cooper, she got the phone and you got it on video. You hear her saying, it's a black person. Okay? So, I'm asking you to read the transcripts on the website because I want you to see, detect, point out, acknowledge how she treats me and what she does, how she holds the hearing, how she sits on the bench and she conducts the hearing, and what she does to discriminate against me. Just like Elijah McClain. The word was he was being suspicious. Ahmaud Arbery, he was being suspicious. Watch how she talks to me. She talks to me like I'm a child, like I'm slow, like she's being suspicious of me. But she's not suspicious of my white husband. Okay? So, page 9. If I already read this, I forgot. I'm going to read it again, okay, you guys? Line 12. The court, all right, well, we're going to return to the issue then of the attorney fees. All right, miss, this is your request for order. The respondent, it is, thank you. The court, is this request for order, you're going to go first, okay? In this request for order, you're going to go first. She's telling me I'm going to go first. Because in times I was the petitioner or the moving party and I didn't go first. That's why she's pointing this out. And I'm saying this to you because you have to look at everything that happened like a mystery and find the clues. Okay? So, in previous transcripts, they were altered because she didn't let me go first on the spousal support. She says in this request for order, you're going to go first. That is her unconscious mind telling me that because she didn't let me go first when I was supposed to. Okay? I reviewed your paper. Is there anything you wish to add to those? The respondent. I have a whole presentation if you allow me. I'm slow. I can't remember stuff from day one. Every time I go on her court, I have a presentation. For the spousal support, she didn't let me read the presentation. Okay? This is what she says. Line 21, page 9. Is it related to your request for attorney fees? I say yes, ma'am. It is directly to my case. So, court, I will permit it as long as it's directly related to your request for attorney fees. If it's about other things, then I am going to cut you off. I want you to keep it relevant. Okay, now see, this is what, okay, you guys, these are all the little innuendos that she does to me, okay? Why would I be in court and I'm a petitioner, I'm asking for something? Why would I talk about anything other than what's relevant? Okay? So, I want you to think about these statements that she says. Is it related to your request for attorney fees? So, there are two things we're going to deduce. She's saying that because she thinks I'm incompetent and I'm not smart enough to know that when I come to court and I am going to discuss something that I'm asking for, that I don't have the mental capacity to know to talk about what I'm asking for and show what I want, why I want it, and supporting evidence. She don't think I'm bright enough for that. Okay, maybe a layman don't know that. Okay, then I need an attorney. This is why I'm saying to you, back in January, I told her I needed an attorney. When she heard the vocational evaluation, I told her I need an attorney. And I'm saying this to you because why would she make this statement? Is it related to your request for attorney fees? What is she implying? Is she implying that I'm not smart enough to know that? Or I'm not capable because I'm not an attorney? And the law says I'm supposed to have an attorney if he has an attorney. Okay? Well, he's supposed to be able to pay for my attorney if the disparity in income. Okay? So I'm going to move on, you guys. The court, I will permit it as long as it's directly related to your request for attorney fees. If it's about other things, then I'm going to cut you off. I want it to keep it relevant. That's page 9. Page 10. The respondent, line 1. Okay. With that said, ma'am, and this is what my concern about me being a black woman and not being treated equally or fairly. If I have commentary, ma'am, it's related to the case. The issue is Miss So-and-so, his attorney, and my husband, and they block it all off. Okay, so what I'm giving you guys the context of what's happening in this court case, okay? It's not that I went through a whole divorce and I'm unhappy with what happens. It is telltale signs throughout the case that I am saying to you, you're not treating me fairly. I say, okay, with that said, ma'am, and this is what my concerns about me being a black woman and not being treated equally or fairly. If I have commentary, ma'am, it's related to the case. The issue is Mr. and Mrs. his attorney and Mr. They block off all of what I said, okay? Because him and his attorney, I laugh at his attorney because his attorney, she's scandalous. And she's like scandalous. And so, me and my commentary, right? She's scandalous. And I kind of go to myself, it's really not fair. When someone is deceitful and nasty, and I'm letting you guys in on my personality, because I don't stay mad and I don't get angry with people, okay? I meet people where they are. And because she's so deceitful, it's clear that this woman, and my heart hurts for her, she lived probably not a very good life. That when people are deceitful and they lie and they do petty and nasty things, that comes from their environment, okay? That comes from either out of, they need it, they know how to, like when you see people breaking laws who are impoverished and they do things that are not always ethical, oftentimes it happens from a place of need or desire because they're lacking, okay? Or it's some kind of emotional need. This chick, she's a liar. And she is just deceitful. And I never understand. I learned why. I'm going to tell y'all as we go on why she's being this deceitful, because this is just a divorce. We just look at our assets and we split them. It was no reason for her to be as nasty and deceitful as she was. Okay? Let me finish reading, you guys. Okay, so the court. And she goes again. Let me stop you right there because you said this now twice. You're raising the issue of race in this hearing, and it concerns me that you keep doing that without tying it to the point that you raised in your paper, which is your request to attorney fees. So lots of things are relevant to your case that are not necessarily relevant to your request for attorney fees. Right now, I'm asking you to just address the issues of attorney fees. You guys, I want to say this to you again, okay? I want you to repeat this because I want you to understand what she's saying. I'm saying to her, because what happens is they challenge you because they don't think you have the intelligence to follow up and answer intelligently, okay? I am a critical thinker. I am college educated. I learned I am right brain and left brain. I have strength. I want to say I enjoy the imaginative part of myself better, but I majored in finance. I am analytical. I know how to look at information and we get information and analyze information, okay? And they don't think black people have that ability, but we very much do so, okay? So again, I'm going to say this to you. Let me stop you right there because you said this now twice. You're raising the issue of race in this hearing, and it concerns me that you keep doing that without tying it to the point that you raised in your paper, which is your request to attorney fees. Me bringing the issue of race is not directly, well, it is, okay, it's not directly related to my request for attorney fees. My request for attorney fees is based on the disparity in income, that I was a housewife for over 10 years and my husband he's a supporting party. He supported me. I had household duties. And the law says that if someone is a disparity in income, that the other party needs to pay for to make it equal. That's what the law says. She says, you're raising this issue of race in this hearing, and it concerns me that you keep doing that without tying it to the point that you're raising your paper. No, I'm raising the point of race because you are not holding this hearing equitably. You're not being fair to me. You when I speak, you cut me off. I asked you to let me have an attorney. The law says that I should have an attorney. Based on in the California Family Law Code says that if a disparaging part, if the person is a disparage, say this properly, I'm not saying this properly. If there is a disparity in income, that the other party needs to pay. Okay, and it also says, I'm going to put the law there, that it needs that I should have representation early, before the hearing. This is what the law says. And you guys, I am pointing this out to you because she's the judge. She is first an attorney. You learn the law. As a judge, it is your job to look at the evidence and come up with what's equitable and what's fair. Okay? Because she continues to cut me off and not let me speak, even if she thinks there's might be an issue with me saying something that's not related, why wouldn't she listen to what I'm saying? If she's the judge and her job is to discern what's happening, is someone one of the parties being deceitful? What's happening? Why wouldn't she want to hear me? Why would she continue to cut me off? Okay? Okay, so she says this. So she goes, so lots of things are relevant to your case that are not necessarily relevant to your request for attorney fees. Right now, I'm asking you to just address the issues of attorney fees. I say to her, and I'm attempting. And the problem is each time I speak, I'm cut off. That's not true. How many times, y'all, have she said, I'm going to stop you right here? And it's an ongoing thing, you guys. Now, remember, it's 3 racist savages, not just one. You're going to see each and every one of them cut me off and stop me, because what their goal is to prevent me to saying relevant subject matter and have it on the transcripts. And even when I say relevant subject matter, the transcripts are altered. Okay, so line 15, page 10. And I'm attempting, and the problem is each time I speak, I'm cut off. The court, that's not true. Respondent, I don't know why it says a reserve. It says, I reserve the court speak to people. I don't think I said that anyway, but this is what this says. I reserve the court speak to people of non-black descent and allow them to speak without being cut off. Each time I come in your court, Judge Heidel, I'm cut off. I'm asking you to allow me to share my experience. The court, Miss, your experience blocked off. First of all, that's not true. That I always cut you off. I let you go on and on in this courtroom. And second of all, what I need you to do right now is address the request you made. If you're not able to do that or not willing to do that, okay, so I want you to follow along. We are having a hearing, and it's important that I share relevant information pertaining to my hearing and my request. But what's happening is I am being discriminated against. My civil rights are being violated because I'm black. And one of the most important things in civil suits, you guys, I learned this a long time ago because I'm a black woman in America. When you're being discriminated against, you need to immediately call them on the carpet and say it. Because had I just went, because this is how they malign us. Had I just went along for the okie doke, let this lady talk to me crazy, have her cut me off, not let me put on my case fairly and equitably, and then when everything was said and done, and I said, if I would have came back and said, you know what, my divorce hearing wasn't held fairly, they would have said, well, why didn't you say something sooner? Oh, I'm telling you, okay? And you guys, I know this video is long, but this spirals out. It grows. And I'm going to say this to you guys. And this is my heart hurts because this is how comfortable they all were maligning us. She's saying who I am. She's saying, Judge, I'm going to be nice and polite to you, but I'm not going to let you malign me. This white man I've been married to, I was his backbone for 20 years. That's why he stayed married to me. When he had a problem with anything, I took care of it for him. Believe me when I tell you that. And as we go on, I'll give you examples of when there was an issue with anything, my husband would tell me. I could probably find emails where he would email me, honey, look at this and tell me what to do. My husband was a very hard workaholic, okay? You have men and you have women, and some women, men and women, couples, their strengths and weaknesses. My husband is very organized. He has strengths. I am an analytical thinker. He was not the analytical thinker. I was. And this is part of what is hurt, or the emotional aspect of this is, I was married to you. I helped you build our life. I contributed. Once you get where you want to go professionally and become successful, you want to get rid of me and kick me to the curb. I didn't help raise your children. I didn't help you guys. This is what I want you to guys to, also I want to mention really quickly, and I forgot to say that in here, she says something about, I read your papers. When you file something, you file a motion, you file a declaration. What I want you guys to notice, at every court hearing, they never address anything I said in the declaration. The declaration says, this is what I want, this is why I want. Each time, every single case, the judge never addressed what I said. If you watch Judge Mathis, when there's a civil case, Judge Mathis reads the paper. He says, okay, this is what's happening. Judge Mathis says, okay, You are saying this. Judge Mathis acknowledges and identifies what the petitioner says. Then Judge Mathis also acknowledges what the respondent says and what their position is. They never do, because when I do the declaration, I read the law. I read the law, and I tailor my request based on what the law says. Okay? So, you guys, I want to finish telling you a couple of things what she says on this. I'm still on page 10. The respondent. And I'm attempting to. And the problem is, each time I speak, I'm cut off. The court. That's not true. The respondent. I reserve the court speaks to people of non-black descent and allow them to speak without being cut off. Each time I speak to you, I come in your court, Judge Heidel, I'm cut off. I'm asking you to allow me to share my experience. So I already read that to you. Miss, your experience blank. First of all, that's not true. That I always cut you off. And so she says I go on and on. So yeah, she lets me go on and on. So she asked me, am I ready? And then I say, I'm very much ready. Again, testimony's cut off. The court, why don't you go ahead and do that? The response, the issue is, if you would let me read this. So I say to her, the issue is if you would let me read this, okay? The court, as long as it relates to the attorney fees. This is what she continues to do, you guys. It relates to the attorney. This is me saying it relates to the attorney fees. Ms. Carter did a second response. Oh, this is important, you guys. To respond, this is me saying page 11 of the transcripts, line 7. It relates to the attorney fees. Ms. Carter did a second response. She was outside the procedure. She responded way out of time allotted. That's not the first time she's done that. She did that with the spousal support. She's going way out of the lines. And what I would like to ask you today, Ms. Heidel, because the truth will come to light, when you see that they're not playing fair, I'm hoping you're going to sanction them. I don't know what the court considers when she makes her judgment. Based on my past experience, it did not seem like it was. Then they didn't understand what I said. The court reporter says, please repeat. We're having a hard time understanding what was last bit you said. And I said, well, I'm going to read this to you, okay? Okay, so this is what I'm saying to you guys. And this is important, okay, because what I'm trying to say to you guys, one of the ways that you can determine if this judge is being unfair to me is when she continues to allow my husband's representation, my husband, to do things that's not within the law. When I point out things that they did that is not within the judicial procedure, that she doesn't even acknowledge that I said it. Okay, so what they did, this is what she did. I filed for attorney fees. When you file something, the other person has to respond, but they have to respond in a certain amount of time before the court date. And you guys, I get sick because this is how this little this woman did me the entire time. She would mail stuff to me, and what happens is she postmarks it at her law firm. She mails it later. So it's postmarked like she did it. She sent it early, but she always sends it late. I think I'm supposed to have at least 10 days, 10 or 14 days, I think maybe 15 days, because the lady in the facilitator told me this. I think you're supposed to have it within like 15 days of the court date. Each time she did stuff, she did it every time. And you guys, I'm harping on this because it gets really deep. I have evidence, but she said she lied. She told the judge this later on. She tells the judge that she sent me stuff. She tells a bold-faced lie. She sends the stuff 6 months later, and it's still sitting there with the postmark on it, The judge asked her, she sent me something. She sat in court and told me she sent it to me, and I got it. She said this was what in I want to say September or August of 2019. In the transcripts, the judge asked her, "Did you submit this to the opposing?" She says, "Yes." I got this stuff 6 months later. I got this stuff like the last week in February. And remember, I'm telling y'all this, okay? And so, again, why this is relevant? Because what my position is, I'm not being treated fairly. Part of the way the evidence is, each time opposing party would do things outside the confines of the law, I said it, she never acknowledged it. Okay? So what I ended up doing, you guys, real quickly, is I read the law. I read what it says real quickly. I'm going to tell y'all. What I ended up doing, because I'm going to wrap part of this up, because this is when it starts getting nasty. This is when the maligning begins. After the next couple of videos is when they put their knee on my neck. They put their foot on my neck. Okay? So, this is California Family Code 2030 for attorney's fees. In a proceeding for dissolution of marriage, nullity of marriage, of legal separation of the party, and in any proceedings subsequent to entry of a related judgment, the court shall ensure that each party has access to legal representation, including access early in the proceedings, to preserve each party's right by ordering, if necessary, based on the income and need assessment, one party accept a government entity to pay the other party or to the other party's attorney whatever amount is reasonable necessary for the attorney fees and for the cost of the maintaining or defending the proceedings during the pendency of the proceedings. Hope I read it to you properly, you guys. So what this says, in proceedings for dissolution of marriage, the court shall ensure that each party has access to legal representation. Okay? So, I'm not the judge. She's the judge. When I brought up the issue in January, when I first went before her, that I don't have representation, that I don't know all the issues to bring up because I'm not represented, I told her that. Okay? In the beginning of the vocational evaluation, I told her, I'm okay with the evaluation, but I want to be represented so I know what my rights are with regard to the vocational evaluation. Okay, you guys, I'm tending to read from the transcripts, but there's a lot of stuff on the transcripts. And the reason why I keep referring to them, because I have fear that you guys are not going to read the transcripts. And I want to say this to you. The website, Judge Heidel is a Racist, has been up for over a year. There's also a LinkedIn page that's associated with the Judge Heidel is a Racist. Last year, you know, on LinkedIn, if you're a LinkedIn user, they tell you who visits your page. The Justice Department visited this page. I'm getting ahead of myself. But once the Justice Department read the website with all the information showing what this lady did to me, this is when they put their foot on my neck and they twisted it. The most upsetting thing about this is why it's important that we follow through with this, you guys. All they had to do, when she saw that I wasn't going to let her malign me, that I was going to stand up for my rights, all she had to do was treat me fair. That's all she had to do. Just like with Sandra Bland, when Sandra Bland said, I know my rights. Sandra Bland, just like Sandra Bland's mother said, Sandra Bland went to that jail and she did not shut up. She said, I'm going to see you in court. Instead of them being respectful to Sandra Bland, Maybe just letting her go. It's like, okay, you calm down. I'm going to cite you a ticket and let you go. Instead of them doing that, they murdered her. Instead of them saying, okay, this black person is going to really not allow us to malign her. Maybe we better treat her fair. This is what's upsetting, is that they're so blatant and arrogant with their racism. And what they're saying is, nigga, stay in your place. Every black person that hear my voice, you know they saying to me, nigga, stay in your place. And just like they're saying, how dare you? You've been married to this white, well-to-do man your whole life. You should feel privileged. You know what they thinking and what they feeling about me. Anyway, I'm going to read this to you guys really quickly because it's important. Because I continue to say that I feel like she's being racist to me. And this is what she does. Page 22 of the transcripts from March 14th. Line 2. The point I was making about his back, Miss Heidel, then everything else I said is blocked off. I called her Miss. I've allowed this for a while. I'm going to point on the record you're being extremely disrespectful. She accuses me of being disrespectful because I call her Miss. She never ever asked me to refer to her as judge or whatever is customary. And I get ahead of myself. What my husband does after this, he files a restraining order against me. Okay? And I'm not prepared to talk about that. I'm tempted to. He files a restraining order against me. And I just want to say, because it's relevant now, how things occurred. I'm going to tell you guys in a little while what happened. I went before another judge. And this is the only judge who went by the book. This is the only judge out of there were 4 judges. 3 was racist. 1 judge who acted like a judge. He wasn't the nicest, kindest, gentlest judge, but he went by the book. How Judge Mathis looks at the evidence, reads the evidence, this judge did that. I called this judge Mr. by mistake, and I said, oh, I apologize. He looked like me, and that's okay, you can call me Mr. He called me, so I said, oh, I'm sorry, sir, Your Honor, or something I said. He looked at me like, it's okay, it's okay. And I'm saying this to you because I want you to understand my experience. When this lady told me I was being rude for calling her Miss, I honestly thought that I was doing something disrespectful. When I accidentally did to the judge's face was like, it's on the transcripts for the restraining order. Okay, let me go ahead and get to that real quickly. What ends up happening is she gives me $5,000, which is nowhere near enough. In the transcripts, I tell them that my husband has a habit of evading paying for his responsibilities. That he was sued by the state of Tennessee for child support. And this is also relevant to the case. He was sued by the state of Tennessee. The state of Tennessee pursued my husband. From the time that his daughter was 16 to the time she was 26, my husband paid child support, for back child support. I say in the documents for the transcripts, one of the reasons why we moved to California, because he didn't want to pay for child support. Okay? I referenced the child support issues multiple times in this divorce. And what I want you guys to understand, which is you can't judge a book by its cover. Tennessee is a southern state. You would think that southern people would be more racism. His baby's mother's a black woman. My husband's parents are very well-to-do, well-respected people in this community. They put a special master on my husband's case for child support. He did everything in his power not to pay for his daughter. But Tennessee wasn't playing. When his lawyer kept doing the unethical stuff with mailing me stuff late, When I told him about it, he started laughing. He goes, oh, they used to do that to me in Tennessee when Tennessee was coming for me. And you guys, I guess it's like you going through a divorce. It's normal for your husband to be mean to you. And he was always mean to me. But I was like, he laughed. He goes, that's what they did to me in Tennessee. And I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, and you guys, I don't know why I keep thinking, I want more from this man. I expect more. I'm like, bro, they doing this to me because I'm black. He said to me, you keep talking about white privilege, because in the courtroom I talk about his white privilege. He says, you didn't have a problem with the white privilege when you were benefiting from it. Black people, if you looking at me like that's what you get for marrying a white person, you don't even have to worry about me thinking or feeling any kind of way about that. I'm not going to defend it. I'm not going to allow you to your opinions and your feelings. Because we had a long marriage. And much as I want to not acknowledge it, my husband is an abusive alcoholic. And issues with race did weigh on our marriage. I'm just embarrassed by it, you guys. So if you go back to the transcripts, she only gave me $5,000. I talk about how much he made. I thanked her for it. When I thanked her, she snapped at me. I just want you guys to go ahead and read the transcripts. I'm going to continue this video. I'm hoping it's not going to be too long, because what ends up happening is, I told you guys, when she ruled against me, he was angry. Outside the courtroom. Now, at the time, I didn't know this. I tried to talk to him. His attorney got in front of him and shielded him. And at the time, it kind of felt like she was protecting him, like this was her man. And I was like, and when she did it, this is my husband, y'all, okay? I stopped. And he was behind her looking at me like, yeah, what? I stopped in my tracks. This woman was putting her hand in front of my husband like this was her man and she was protecting him. And this is my husband. You understand? And I just, when shit happens to me, pardon my French, that's hurtful, I don't overreact. I stop and I catch myself. I looked at her and I said something to him. She got in front of him. I just walked away. You know what he did? He went and filed a restraining order against me. Now remember, you guys, I read to you about the spousal support. What he and his woman does, they try to malign me and make me the abuser. I told y'all I submitted evidence of him apologizing to me. I even have a girlfriend who saw him slam me against the wall. Okay? So, I'm going to take a break right now, but I'm going to come back and I'm going to tell y'all about, I want to include it in this part 3 because I have a lot more information. After this, this is when it starts to get really dark. Okay? So, he went and he filed a restraining order against me. Okay? And I'm going to stop right now, but I didn't do anything to him. Okay, you guys? I'm going to tell y'all about this and the circumstances behind it. And I want to go ahead and tell you, the judge did not rule in his favor. Okay, he didn't get a restraining order because the judge realized he was lying. He went in the judge's courtroom and he was lying to the judge, thinking he was going to lie to this judge the way he lies to this racist Judge Heidel. The judge caught him in a lie. The judge caught him not being honest, questioned him about his testimony, and didn't rule in his favor. I'm going to tell y'all how it ended up being a different judge. I need to take a break right now, you guys. Y'all got to stay with me, okay? I'm begging y'all. If y'all got to listen to these videos 10, 15 minutes at a time, you have to listen to an entire video because, again, My purpose is to sue this judicial system of Los Angeles, the family court, for discriminating against me and violating my civil rights. That is the immediate goal. The long-term goal is I want to make a case for a new Civil Rights Act, the Civil Rights Act of 2020, George Floyd reform. In order to do that, we have to show and prove that there is reason to enact an updated Civil Rights Act. So I'm going to take a break right now, and I'll be back. This video is probably over an hour long by now. Just rock with me, y'all. Please, rock with me. Okay, you guys, I'm back, and I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video. I know it's long, but it's a lot of information. I really want to tie in what's happening to me by these family court judges and the judicial system to what's happening to black men, or to just men and women, black men and women being victimized and just victimized by the judicial system, by police officers, and by people in authority. And the primary point that I want to make to you, and why I'm tying it all in, is that they do this to us because they know they can get away with it. Because a judge like racist Judge Heidel, I call him the Grand Dragon of Lawrence Rift. This guy is the assistant head judge of the family court system. And this is happening to me, an educated black woman who was in a marriage with a successful white male. I really get big anxiety thinking about this, but I can only imagine what they're doing, the family court system, to black mothers, to children who are in the court system for whatever reason. If they're going to do this to me, just because I'm a black woman, what are they doing to children? What are they doing to women who have less education than I do, who have the less wherewithal than I do? So really quickly, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, and this is part 3. I'm going to have part 4, but ultimately, she did award $5,000 in attorney fees, and I strongly believe she only did that because I called her out on her racism continuously each time I went before her. And at the time, I was happy to get anything. I just wanted to get legal representation so I could make sure they were treating me fairly. I asked for $20,000. She gave me $5,000. And I'm going to tell you what happened to this $5,000 and what this woman did to me in future videos. This is part 3. I'm going to go ahead and move on to part 4. And as I sit here and think about all the stuff that has happened, because it's still going on. As of today is it's July 2020. Okay, this all happened where I'm at right now, March 14, 2019. They maligned me. They did unethical stuff. Everything they did, I am documenting on the website. Judge Sarah Heidel is a racist, so you can go and verify it. Okay. So what the next video I'm going to talk about, and forgive me for laughing because this guy is unbelievable. He took out a restraining order against me, and it's part of his whole plot. Okay. I'm going to move on to part 4. But also, I'm going to have to talk about the house nigga again. And I don't want to offend anyone, because I truly think that we need to request a updated civil rights amendment based on current times. And one of the ways that they do this to us, by enlisting black people. And the old name was the house nigger. I call them anti-black people. And then when you actually look at the psychology of it, it's really unfortunate, and it's one of the ways that they attain economic power. If you're a black person and you worked very hard to maintain your job, your status, and your position, and sometimes it's really hard for me to discuss this because I'm not a house nigger. I would not put a job, a position, before my race, okay? But I do recognize there are other people who aren't as comfortable. They feel like maybe, I've worked this hard, I can't beat them, I might as well join them. Personally, I think that's treason. I think that's cannibalism. And I have a lot of integrity. As I sit here in pain, hurt and broken, I'm a strong woman. I'm a very strong woman, and this is hard for me. Person who has less strength, less integrity, they'll go for it. So what I'm saying to you is, one of the trends or one of the things that they use when they victimize us, when they do this racial inequality, they enlist black people. Black people who probably have worked hard for their position. And so if you're a black person who may have been in that position, you just think to yourself, what would you do? You're going to think, well, I'm sorry they're doing this to you, but I need my job. That's really a tough place to be. I have integrity. I'm ethical. I'm a rarity because I wouldn't victimize my own people for my job. I just know that is one of the ways that they maintain this economic power. So, and the reason why I'm saying that, because I'm very serious about creating this Civil Rights Act of 2020, George Floyd's reform, and we need to include current day events. In current day events, black people are being used in their jobs, in their position, to persecute other black people. And we need to discuss the human nature of this. We need protection. So look, here I go on and on. Anyway, you guys, I'm going to wrap this one up. This is the end of part 3. I'm going to go on to part 4, where I'm going to discuss why this guy took out a... I'm sorry, y'all. Because he used his shit. And it worked to his advantage at the end. When other racist judges got involved, they used this BS he did to me. He took out a false restraining order, and the judge did not grant it to him. So I'm going to probably start there. I'm going to talk about that when I get to part 4. But please, I'm asking you to follow along. Again, one of the reasons why they're able to continue the victimization of black people, because it's so broad. It's so broad that it can be challenging to sit down and identify each and every occurrence and request sanctions or some kind of repercussion for this occurrence. So again, thank you so much for following me along. I'll see you in part 4, okay? Thank you, guys.